What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. My name is Eric, and today my brother Chris and I are going to be talking about toe socks. We're bringing you our second edition of our toe sock roundup videos. The first video came as a bit of a surprise to us. We kind of thought that it was going to be a throwaway video, that it wasn't really going to do very well and people wouldn't be very interested in it, and then it kind of took off. So we decided to reach out to even more companies, get more toe socks in, and we're excited to review 4 more brands for you in this video. As always, there are timestamps down in the description. Go check those out. If there's a brand that you're interested in, you can skip forward to that. But we're just gonna jump into it. Chris is gonna start us off by talking about our first toe sock.
I'm going to kick things off by talking about the Barefoot Splay toe socks. They are a sock that has a rubber traction pattern on the bottom. We are not strangers to this kind of toe sock. The company Toe Socks, I'll put their branding up here for you, sent us a pair of what they call recovery socks in the last round of toe socks that we did. And those had a little bead pattern of rubber grips on the bottom. These have more of what they're calling a radial pattern, so a couple circles overlaying each other. And let's just talk about the use cases they say on the website. So obviously you're gonna wear these for lifting weights in the gym barefoot. Some people will just wear normal socks. That concerns me when doing things like squat. I always worry that my feet are going to slip apart depending on the surface that I'm lifting on. But then also doing any kind of movement like a lunge where I'm gonna need a little bit of traction, I don't wanna do that pure barefoot or in slippery socks. So these would be great for that. I definitely lifted weights in these just to get a feel for them, and these are probably the traction socks that I would trust most when it comes to barefoot lifting. When it comes to being a toe sock purely, they do mention on the website that you can wear these with shoes, and what they do is they provide you some grip between your foot and the insole if you happen to be going downhill, as an example, and you don't want your foot to slide forward in the shoe and slam your toes into the front of your shoe. So there is kind of a practical use case for wearing these inside of shoes. They are kind of difficult to get into shoes in the first place because those grips make it hard to slip your foot down through the mouth of the shoe. But I did try these with some of the higher volume shoes that we've been working with, and that did seem to work pretty nicely. Now I want to comment on the fit and the comfort. It doesn't tell me what materials exactly these are made out of, and I mention that because when I get into the other toe sock I'm talking about, I will go very in depth on the materials because that provides a lot of the advantages of those specific socks. But no materials to mention, but I will say that these do stretch very nicely when you go to put them on your feet. They do almost need a break-in period with that rubber outsole, if you can call it that. They're definitely not the softest socks, but they do feel like the most rugged. I would be hard pressed to wear through these things. So they're a little bit rigid, definitely stretchy enough to get them on. The fit's not my favorite. The pinky toes do tend to walk off a little bit, but almost every sock is going to do that for the most part, with the exception of a couple that we're going to talk about today, for me at least. So overall, it's a pretty good sock for the price of $20. It's definitely the cheapest lifting footwear that you can get from Barefoot. If you're interested in checking out the Splay socks, we are an affiliate with Barefoot, so head down to the link in the description and that'll take you over to their website.
All right, the first pair of toe socks I wanted to talk about today comes from a brand called Earth Runners. And Earth Runners is known mainly for their running sandals. Now, as it's winter outside and we didn't want to go run around in the cold in sandals, we reached out to them about their toe socks. Now, these are made of 34% Cool Max polyester, 11% cotton, 22% polyester, 30% nylon, and 3% lycra. So it's quite the mix of materials, but it does make a very soft and very pleasant to the touch sock that I have really enjoyed wearing, especially casually. So these ones haven't worked for me quite as well as an athletic pair, and in between the toes, they kind of hurt. It feels like when I'm running that this material is getting tugged down into the space between my toes. And I don't know if that's a sizing thing. They have small, mediums, and larges. and we followed the guide. I got a pair of mediums, but for whatever reason when I'm running, these aren't quite as comfortable. So despite that drawback, I have found them to be pretty durable. There really aren't any spots on here that have worn through that I've been worried about. That happens a lot on the big toe of these socks, but these ones seem to be holding up pretty well. They come in at $16, and I think that they are a great casual option. Just wanted to take a moment here to talk about some of the affiliate links that we have going on with the channel right now. We're fortunate enough to work with some amazing brands, and I just wanted to show you some of the shoes that we have from them that we're going to be talking about in the future as we gear up for more summer and casual shoes. So we have an affiliate link to Barefoot's website. This is the Ursa. We also have a link to Feelgrounds. This is the low-rise knit. Chris got a high-rise knit. We've reviewed the Splay Freestyle and Explore before, and now we've got a slip-on that we'll be talking about soon in the future. And we've done a few different videos on Vibram shoes. This is one of their more casual models. It's a canvas toe shoe that I got towards the end of the fall, so I didn't get to really try them out too much. I'm excited to put these back on after the snow melts. I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention one of the affiliate brands that we have that is a toe sock brand, and that is Creepers. These guys were the winners of our last video, and these have just proven to be really durable for us. They are super soft. We like the merino wool blend that they're made up of, and they do really well casually. They do really well during sport. We love Creepers socks. So with all that out of the way, let's continue with the video.
All right, the next pair of socks I'm going to talk about has a lot going on. So these are the Exoskin toe socks, and they're more highly engineered than a lot of the electronics that currently surround you. I had about a 40-minute conversation with the guy who holds the patent for, I think, the yarn blend for these socks. His name is Rick. Super cool dude. They ended up sending us 3 pairs to try out. This is the one that I probably wore the most, this one and the quarter crew, and then they also sent us a crew. And let's just dumb that 40-minute conversation down real quick for you. These socks are formulated with a blend of yarn that has molecules that are meant to reduce friction. The specific molecule is called PTFE. You can look it up, but then there's also copper blended in as well. And between those two materials, not only do you reduce friction, but you increase skin health. Copper is really good for us. It's supposed to be in our diet, and it's also very good for our skin. These are formulated basically to be the ultimate endurance athlete sock. Reducing friction is the main thing you want to do in your shoes when you're going long distances in footwear. I'm sure I'm skipping a few details here, and if Rick ever sees this, Rick, I'm so sorry for butchering our conversation. But as I understand it, that's kind of the basis for these socks. Now, how do they actually feel? They're very thin, they're very lightweight, they're ventilated on the top of the foot and near the ankle, and I find that they are just very pleasant to the foot in general. Obviously, with all that cooling technology, these aren't going to be great for things like snowy hikes, but they're going to be fantastic for just about everything else. I've loved these for running, I've loved these for lifting, and they've been great for casual wear as well. They come in a cajillion different colors, and you can also optimize sizes, so they're not taking a one-size-fits-all approach, which we have found not to be the greatest approach when it comes to toe socks, and they're pretty hard to beat when it comes to the engineering for the price point. So these ones are usually $24. They're currently $18. The quarter crew are $19. They're usually $26. And the crew are $22. They're usually $29. Some drawbacks for these guys. The first one is going to be, I had a little bit of this one coming apart. You can kind of barely see it. There you go. You can see that this lip is starting to pull up because some of the stitching did come undone. And these are my second most worn pair, so not even my most worn pair. The other thing is that they can be a little bit tight in certain places, specifically around the ankles. I know they're supposed to be kind of compressive to a degree, but your ankle is usually the smallest part of your calf, ankle, foot complex. So being able to fit your foot in there is important, and I struggled to get the crew size on my foot. I was still able to do it. It was just a struggle. Outside of that, these are kind of like the dream toe socks for an athlete, especially again when it comes to that price point.
The second pair of toe socks that I'm going to be talking about today comes from a brand called Serasox. And this is a brand that we were super excited about because these socks are made out of bamboo. So that really piqued our interest. Over the summer, Chris and I got a sun hoodie that was made out of bamboo. You can actually check out our roundup video of sun hoodies there. But the one that was made out of bamboo, we really like to wear just because of how soft it was and how nice it is. Bamboo has this different stretch to it, and it's almost a little bit heavy sometimes, but it feels really, really good. And so we were excited to try some socks made out of bamboo. And I will say that they are super soft. I really like the material itself and the way that it feels on your skin, but outside of that, we did have a few issues with them, unfortunately. First one is that we got these calf length socks, and they do not stay up worth crap. They fall down and bunch around your ankle, and that's very frustrating. So they do have 3 different cuts you can choose from. They've got no-shows, ankle cuts, and calf length. So I would definitely go for the no-shows or the ankle cuts if I was gonna pick up a pair of these. We found the sizing to be off a little bit as well. So I'm a US men's size 9. And according to their sizing chart, you should get a small to medium that should cover you up to a 10.5 in men's. But there's not enough space in each of these little spots for my toes. These are definitely too small. I should have gone with the large to extra large. So that's definitely something to consider with them. We also have found that they're not quite as durable. They seem to be wearing more than the rest of the socks that we have tried so far. But they do come in at $13. That is cheaper than a lot of the socks that we've reviewed so far. So if that's something that's in your price range, I would definitely suggest looking for the crew cut or the no-show so that they don't bunch around your ankle. But I do think that you would like how soft and comfortable these things are. So when it comes to picking a winner out of this batch of socks, I am gonna give it to the Exoskin. I really like these socks, especially athletically. Using them for sports is what they were made for, and they really shine there. I think that they feel really nice around your toes. They fit on your toes really nice. I wouldn't be worried about getting blisters with these. I'm not worried about them wearing out. I think that they're built durably, and they do a good job keeping your feet dry and keeping them cool. I don't like to wear them quite as much casually, and I think that has a lot to do with like the coloring and the styling, but also the material itself I think just lends itself towards sports more than casual wear. Something like a Creepers sock does pretty well in both arenas, although I do think that this one outshines the Creepers athletically. The Creepers outshines this one casually. The Creeper socks were our winners from that last batch. You can watch that video by clicking on the card up there if you haven't seen it already. But I'm gonna send it over to Chris now to let you know what his winner is and close out the video for us.
Before I wrap things up, I wanted to give you guys my final verdict on which sock I would choose if I could only have one, and that is Exoskin's toe socks. I've loved these things from the day we got them. Again, like I mentioned in my piece of the video, they never walk off my pinky toe, so I never have to adjust them after I put them on, which is just so nice. But they're good for just about everything, and I'm always going to pick the more versatile product. Close second for me, a sock that I didn't get to cover in this video, Eric talked about them, the Earth Runners socks. I really like these. These also don't really walk off my pinky toe at all. They've been extremely durable. I like the weight. They're great for running, and we are planning on doing more work with Earth Runners in the future with their running sandals specifically, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in that when the nicer weather starts coming around. We do have an affiliate link for these down in the description, so if you're interested in picking up a pair, go and check that out. Here at the end, I wanted to bring you guys in on a little challenge that Eric and I are doing. Barefoot sent us out some of their new Splaycers. So these are their own toe spacers. They're called the Splaycers as a play on the toe Splay socks that we reviewed in this video. But it got Eric and I thinking that we want to do a 1 year solid challenge of wearing toe spacers. and we want to invite you to do it with us. We're going to kick this challenge off with a video the first weekend in February talking about our foot health journey with Barefoot shoes and toe spacers. So keep an eye out for that as the start of the challenge. If you've got toe spacers already, get ready to start wearing them consistently. If you don't have toe spacers, head down to the link in the description. It'll take you over to the Barefoot website and you can pick up some of the new Splacers. They're only $20, and if you use that link, it'll auto apply a discount code so that you can save some money. If you're looking for some more exclusive content that you're not going to see on any other platform, head down to the link that takes you over to our Patreon page. It is only $1 a month to subscribe and get more in-depth, up close, and early access content of us working with all the amazing products that are being sent to us. Also consider following us on Instagram and Strava. We post way more often to those two platforms than we do with our once a week here on YouTube, especially Strava, where we're building a really cool little community of outdoor enthusiasts. Strava is a place where you can post about your adventures and your exercise. I post a lot about my weight training in my basement gym. Eric and I both post about our runs when it's not too cold outside to go for runs. We also post our hikes and our paddleboarding adventures and all the gear that we're using on those. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to go and follow along with us on Strava, and we will follow you back, continuing to build that community. We appreciate you joining us. We're glad you're here. And as always, we will catch you in the mountains.